This is a basic instruction to how to install the lid lifters. You can see these units have already been installed. So this is the fully functional lid lifter when the installation is complete. Let's focus on this bin and do the installation on this bin. What you will need is a standard 240 litre wheelie bin, and then these are the actual parts. You have the two pillars, you have the actual step, you need two Allen keys, you need Loctite, and a hammer and a clamp, should you be only one person doing the installation. This is to ensure that you've got an extra pair of hands to do a portion of the installation. Right, if you look at the bin, you will notice that there's two holes, one on this side and one on this side. That's where the step will be installed. And if we open the lid, you will notice that we have a groove cut here and on this side, and this is where the two pillars will be inserted. Let's start with the installation. The two pillars, you will notice on the one side it's got already a connector inserted in the one side, and on the other side you've got two holes. Notice that it's marked with red. The actual step, you will also see that the connectors that we're going to need is already pre-installed. That is just to make it easy for you to complete the installation. So with the installation, we start with the pillars. The top side of the pillars are where these connectors are installed, and you will notice the way that we insert the pillars is important, and these connectors need to rest on the ledge. Let me show you. Let's demonstrate this. The one pillar slides into that slot, and if you will notice that this portion of the connector is resting on this ledge. Let's do the same on this side. It slides into the slot, and if the installation, the way it's installed is correct, then this portion will rest on this ledge. It's very important that it's this way around. Alright, now we're going to install this actual step, and for the step we need the two Allen keys, and we need the Loctite. We obviously need the step, and we're going to use that a little bit later in the process. First step is basically the end side of the step is going to connect to the bottom side of the pillar. We're going to use these connectors. You will notice that these connectors are also marked with red, both sides, and that's to line and to connect with this side. The pillar is also marked with red. So let's unscrew this connector. The back side, or this female side, needs to be inserted from the back, from the bin side, into the hole of the pillar like this, and then we need to, very important step, make use of this Loctite, and we put one drop inside the thread, and then we can line up the thread, and we can actually then tighten it with hand tighten it. Once it's hand tight, we use the two Allen keys, one for this side and one for this side, and we fully tighten it. It's important that we tighten it properly, and very important that we first put a drop of this Loctite in. This, when it's dry, it will be impossible for that fitting to come loose, and that is obviously something that we want to prevent at all cost. Once we have done it on this side, we move to the other side and we repeat the exact same step. Once the step is connected to the pillar, we can now continue and we can connect the step to the actual bin. Your connectors is pre-installed, so we need to loosen the connectors. Use the Allen key if it's a bit too tight. The male portion of the connector, we slide it around and we insert it from the outside inwards. Then the female portion of the connector, we put a washer in this way round. This portion is going to be installed from the inside of the bin and it's going to push out of this hole here. Let's do that quickly. To do that, this hole is extremely tight, and what I normally do is I take an Allen key, I put it in, and on the inside I use the hammer and I hit the connector in through the hole. Otherwise it's nearly impossible to get it through. Let's do that. Make sure it sticks out and it's fully inserted from the inside by hitting it with the hammer. Now we're ready to do the installation. Before we do the actual installation, please do not forget to add some Loctite to the actual thread. I'm going to tilt the bin. We put a drop or two on the inside. We put the remaining washer on the outside, and now we line up the thread. It's a little bit tricky. You might need to bend the actual step and use your Allen key to turn the connector in. Once the thread has taken, what you can now do is use the clamps provided to clamp this side of the Allen key to the actual step. This is obviously if you're the only person doing the installation. If you've got a helper, the helper can keep the one Allen key on the outside while you do the installation and fasten it on the inside. So I'm going to use this Allen key now on the inside to fasten that connector. Also, that's once it's installed on this side, you repeat the exact same steps on the other side, and you make 100% sure that all four of the connectors, you have installed and put a drop of the Loctite in. That's basically how the steps work. Once the step is connected to the actual bin, make sure that this connector is tightly fitted and that the two washers press tightly against the actual bin. We can now continue and we can test this unit. Let's put the lid back in position. And then we've got a fully operational lid lifter bin. Thank you very much.